Hello, today I'll be talking about the roles of Roman women and contrasting it with Viking women. Who do you think had the better deal? Well, obviously, most people would think, oh, well, it's the Roman way of life. No, the Roman women were very much subservient to their male counterparts. It was technically feasible in the Roman world that if a woman drank wine, her husband could kill her. As you'll agree, that's a very harsh way of going on. So, what was the role of Viking women in their society? It was very different from the Roman model in that housewife was a social rank, and from her belt she had three keys: key to the house, the key to the food, and the key to the money. And it went further. She decided who could and who could not go in the house. So you may have a king or a high-ranking lord, and if she didn't like the look of them, that was it, mate. Out the window, no entry at all. She was responsible also for discipline in the house, and this was administered usually by a good crack round the head if you misbehaved. There were also the lawgivers of the family. They remembered all the past, where you came from, and things like that. She would also teach the young girls of the house how to sew, how to embroider, and how to control men. That's the traditional view of Viking women. It's now been seen that there are cases of Viking women warriors. That doesn't surprise me at all. Where did the idea of the Valkyrie come from? Well, female warriors. It's been discovered that a grave they traditionally thought of as male, with full weapon set, two horses, actually is a female. And what's wrong with that? It was also the role of the woman that if the house was attacked, the woman would defend the house and her children. Now, I think it would be a very foolhardy man that attacked a woman with this, or a Magnarsson, the large knife. Hell hath no fury like a woman scorned. That's what Shakespeare said, I believe. So what about Roman women? What did they do? Well, depending on your social class, they were more a commodity than anything else. If you're in the higher echelons, they were married pretty much for the benefit of their fathers and brothers, things like that. And as a result, they tended to be looked on as, like I say, as a commodity rather than as human beings. You were there to produce the next line of senators or whatever. If you're a slave woman, well, basically you had no rights whatsoever and you were treated lower than anything. Getting back to the Viking women, if you compare it, a woman could conduct business up to an ounce of silver, which is quite a lot. If she was a widow and owned a farm, she was looked on as being very desirable. She could run a farm and things like that, and she could pick her husband. And yes, neither state is actually what you'd call ideal, but at the same time, the first thing you'd think of, Romans are very civilized and decent people, which I'm sure most of them were, but their ideas for women just don't gel in this time and date. And people are surprised about these Vikings that treated their women equally, well, not equally, but better. The rules on divorce in the Viking age was far better. If a woman wanted to divorce her husband, all she had to do was get him. There are a number of ways. You could get him dressed up as a woman. She would go to the marketplace and go, I divorce thee, I divorce thee, I divorce thee. Jobs are good. Their money is split in half, as are all the assets. The children live with their mother and the father pays for them. Whether they had the same problems that they do today with absentee fathers, I'm pretty much sure they did. But there was provision in there. There was a realistic view of well, you don't get on, so no point in ruining it for everybody. So again, women, they tended to be, I don't know, they're in the background, and I think it's due largely to the way we look at archaeology through the ages. You look at something from the late 50s, the Romans were all upright and decent and everything else. The Vikings were savages. Time moves on, and the Vikings become more mellow and the Romans are less tolerant. And what it's doing is archaeology and history are very, very political, and they're used and adapted to suit the political climate of the time. And no doubt in next generation or the generation after that, it'll be completely different. Who knows? But you can only go by the evidence you've got and being able to deduce them. At the end of the day, they're human beings like we are. They have the same emotions and feelings that we do. And the laws, well, you can interpret that any way you like, really, I suppose. That's why we have more than one view on things. But all told, it's well worth looking at. And as I say, the role of women in history has been, it's a bit better than it was, but it still needs looking into a lot more. And it's also great fun. So anyway, I hope it's inspired some of you to have a look deeper and let us know what you think. So till then, bye.